What is up, y'all? Hope y'all are having an awesome, spectacular day.
Happy Saturday, chat. I hope
Yes.
you've had a good weekend so far. I hope you've had a good weekend so far.
Yeah, hopefully y'all are having an awesome, spectacular weekend. So far, mine's okay. Can't complain.
Yeah, same too. Mine's going
So,
great.
a lot of things have been going on since last night and the last time we talked.
Yeah, there was a pretty interesting SmackDown, I might
Yeah.
add.
So, we may. I'm looking forward to actually seeing a triple threat match between Reigns, Rollins, and Punk. That'll be a
Yes,
great.
that'll be that'll be one for the ages.
Yes, that'll be really great for the ages.
And
And
looking
I'm
for the main
actually
event.
looking forward to seeing what will go on between Cody and John. That'll be an interesting thing, as
Yeah,
everyone probably saw how John was bitching and complaining.
yeah. About 20 years, what happened. He's
Yep,
he's talking about what happened since he arrived to WWE.
yep,
Uh, Complains how the fans treated him. Long story short,
yep.
um, let's just say he was roasting everyone.
Yes, he
Uh,
was. He was definitely roasting everyone, but
so
I do have to give Cody props for what he actually said to him, though. Calling
oh
him
yeah,
a whiny bitch. That was actually great. I actually enjoyed seeing Cody say that to him. So it'll
yeah,
be interesting to see how it ends up at WrestleMania, whether we're going to see a ruthless aggression type John Cena that didn't bitch, or are we going to still see the continuation of the whiny bitch heel version of Cena? We
well,
we just don't know
we
yet.
have to we have to wait and see. We have
Yeah.
to wait and see. So yeah, um, yeah, that has to be like it's too early in the storyline. Still,
Yes,
uh,
exactly.
they're still building it. Man, I can speak today. They're still
Yep.
building it. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Mhm. They're definitely
Uh,
still building it. We'll see
and
what happens from there, and then we'll see what happens because last night, as y'all probably saw, Naomi
interviewed.
beat the brakes off of Jade Cargill again while she
Yep,
was wrestling Liv.
yep. And she interfered during the match. And
Yep.
technically, this is the first ever singles loss.
Yes, it was.
Uh, so yeah, as you know, this past few weeks, I believe two for now, WWE was in a European tour. They were
Hmm.
Raw was on Belgium, and SmackDown was in Italy, and they have a little other
Hmm.
events, kind of live events in Germany and Holland and
Yes.
all that stuff. They might see a UK either SmackDown or Raw from the UK.
Yep.
Now, Italy, it's been like 18 years since Raw was, I remember, and this is like when Santino Marella debuted, I believe, on that specific Raw. Um,
Hmm.
when he bought Umaga, that segment, and when it's like, who wants to face Umaga for the Intercontinental title?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, actually, was still working. The company helped
Yeah.
Santino with the battle. I think they were in Belgium for the first time, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I
I
believe so.
don't
It
know.
might be that. I'd have to look back at that.
Now I know in Italy they were in Italy and they were in France, so they might be told, oh, WWE in France, prepare yourself because you're gonna have Clash at Paris this
Yep.
upcoming August. So get
Yep.
ready. We did have Clash at the Castle 2 times. One was done at the UK and the other was at Scotland. They were pretty good pay-per-views, so I think that they should be doing pretty good. Now, you may remember that last year, Backlash was in France. So, hey, that, so yeah, so that was pretty good that Backlash. So yeah,
Yeah.
the crowd was like seeing when Randy Orton was entering the ring. They started that trend in like since Randy entering the arena, like in every city, the crowd
Mhm.
started singing his
Yep.
song. It's
Yeah.
awesome to hear fans singing their wrestler song, which is very cool.
Yep. And we'll be seeing Randy Orton versus KO at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So that'll be a good match. We'll probably
Now,
see him pull out a lot of stuff from the Legend Killer repertoire.
oh, the whole nine. Yeah, the whole nine.
Yep. Because I don't think KO realizes what he's getting himself into.
You don't want to deal with Randy Orton, especially
Not when he taps into the Legend Killer frame of mind. When he goes into that, you don't know what stops he's going to pull out with that. KO may want to talk to Triple H on that one. Because after all, the cerebral assassin did show up at Randy Orton's house and kick in the door and beat the brakes off of him and threw him throughout his actual window. So some of you may remember that if you grew up watching the Attitude Era going into the Ruthless Aggression Era. That was a big feud between Randy Orton and Triple H after the whole drama with Evolution. Once Triple H kind of stabbed Randy Orton in the back on Evolution.
Yeah, it was for the championship, I believe. The
Yes.
title.
Mm-hmm. But that was a great battle between those two. Those two put on one heck of a match.
Yeah, these are very, very amazing wrestlers.
Yeah.
They proved that a lot during their careers.
Yeah, they did. And like another great, amazing match was Booker T and Stone Cold. They always put on one heck of a performance every time they went out there. The
Especially
legendary scene will always be the grocery store fight scene.
Never gets old.
But I still loved how they showed up at a church and Booker T was asking the nuns for a ride. Or the nuns were asking him for a ride. Let me correct myself on that one. And then Stone Cold showed up. That was great because it started off that Booker T was in the confession, and then he said, "Do you have any sins you want to confess?" And Stone Cold just standing in the shadow like that. It was great. Classic Attitude Era, right there.
Oh, that was amazing. Oh, I have to watch that someday.
I did post that little clip from Instagram in the Discord in the WWE
Alright, I'll do that.
section.
Yeah.
So yeah, you may have to scroll through some of them and find
Yeah, I have
it.
to go a little bit up. Yeah, I have to scroll a little bit up
Mhm.
there.
Yeah, so if you join the Discord server, you'll see a lot of the WWE posting stuff in the WWE text box. Like I have a lot of stuff WWE related in there. So
Yeah,
Those
some
who
of the
met,
best songs ever.
those who've never seen some like the Attitude Era or the Ruthless Aggression stuff that much, a lot of that stuff ends up getting posted by either me or Flame. So,
Yeah. So, hey, bonus, do you want to see how it was in the Attitude Era or the Ruthless Aggression Era?
mm-hmm,
Go check it out.
yeah,
Yeah, make sure to join the server. Um, have fun with us. You know, hey now, that would be awesome.
yeah, we can talk wrestling, and maybe from time to time we can watch some old like WrestleManias or Summer Slams or old pay-per-views from those times.
Yeah, last week was great.
Yep.
We did. Actually, speaking of which, hope you don't mind sharing. We did watch a little bit of WrestleManias this past few last week.
Yep. Last
And
Saturday after
yeah,
the podcast, we watched what was it, WrestleMania 20,
20. Yeah,
20
yeah, it
or
was.
21, one of those.
I think we watched 20 and 21, I believe.
Well, you caught the last like part of the
Yeah.
20, 20, I believe, and then we watched the full 21.
Oh yes, because yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that happened because the guys, as you may know, we have a little time differences and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so this morning I started watching SummerSlam 88. Some of you may remember that SummerSlam where the first match is between the British Bulldogs versus um, the Fabulous Rougeau brothers. That was before probably a lot of these times. If you weren't born in like the early 80s and didn't grow up in the 90s, you're probably not going to recall much of that SummerSlam or much of anything from that time. That's one of the first SummerSlams where it was the Mega Powers versus the Mega Bucks. If you're not familiar, the Mega Bucks was the team of Andre the Giant and Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and Virgil was Ted DiBiase's manager, as well, technically a bodyguard, buffer kind of person during that time because Virgil didn't quite wrestle yet.
I didn't start yet, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yes,
there's a lot of legendary matches in that. Like, so I would definitely recommend checking that out, especially if you have Peacock. Definitely go and check it out. Like, watch a lot of those old school SummerSlams, WrestleManias, Hell in the Cell. It just blows my mind watching some of the old matches and how much WWE has changed throughout the years and how well some of these older guys have been able to adapt with the times with their character, especially people like Randy Orton, who's still there wrestling, still doing what he loves to do, adapting with the times. Like, it's amazing. Like, even Cena, as much as there's a lot of mixed feelings on John Cena from fans, like, you can't count him out because he's been there for many years. Started off in the Ruthless Aggression era, was very close of getting cut from WWE, believe it or not, because when he first started, he's just going out just like any normal regular wrestler, didn't have really any decent character. And then, like he said himself, he almost got cut. And then, like, you got people like Chris Jericho who came back for a while, who was able to adapt with the changes. You got even the Hardy Boys. Like, these are people you really have to respect because they've come a long way from their journey. Like, a lot of people don't remember that Jeff Hardy, when he was a young teenager, he actually wrestled against Scott Hall when he was Razor Ramon. it was one of those live event matches. It wasn't on like a main show or a pay-per-view. It was just one of those blackout matches on one of the live events. So like, yeah, and then like a lot of these, it's amazing how much some of these guys have been able to adapt throughout the changes.
And they're still wrestling for this day.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Like, even Ric Flair, he was able to wrestle all the way from the late 70s through the 80s, 90s, part of the 2000s. Like, that man was able to really adapt to anything. So you got to really respect someone like Ric Flair, who was able to just do that at his age. And he's not a young man either.
I remember he wanted to do one more match.
Yeah.
But even though he did one last year, he kind of said he wants one more. Is that what happened?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Now, we're still looking for I know that Goldberg wanna do one more match.
Yeah, he's been saying that for years, though. It's only a matter of time whether it's going to be either WWE that brings him or the opposing side tries to do it for him or whatever. It's hard to say.
And I remember this little thing on Raw that happened, him and Gunther, but some people actually kind of wanted this match to be with him and Gunther, but I think I don't know, maybe it's better someone that he knows.
I think Goldberg actually wants to wrestle another veteran, like another old school guy he's never wrestled before, from what I've read on some other wrestling news things. I think he wants to wrestle another legend of around that same time period as when he was on Nitro and stuff like that he never got a chance to wrestle.
Speaking of legends, Sean Waltman review his legends here with WWE.
That's just a mention that he's been observing and watching stuff, which if he is working, that's awesome, because I have the highest respect for Sean Waltman. I grew up watching him when he was the Lightning Kid, when he went to 1-2-3 Kid, and then X-Pac, and then 6-Pac, and all the other. Like, he is a phenomenal wrestler. Like, I really enjoyed watching. He's like one of my favorites to watch as a kid because he's just so entertaining. And like, he's the perfect fit for observing, because I feel by him observing, he's not going to hold back. He's just going to let Triple H know, you know what, this person completely sucks. And he's going to say it. He's not going to hold back. He's the type who's never held back. Like, he was part of the Clique for the longest time backstage during the whole 90s, the 80s and 90s era of WWE, when their Clique ran pretty much everything in the locker room. So like, he's not gonna hold back. He's definitely gonna really let people have it. And then like that new show that they're showing on Tubi, where people are trying to become WWE superstars. It baffled my mind how one of them had the nerve to be disrespectful to Bubba Ray and got all offended just because Bubba Ray didn't shake his hand. Like, this is this is my problem with this soft generation. If you're gonna get mad over someone not shaking your hand, you are soft. You're in a business where someone that you think is your friend in that locker room may not be your friend. And that's what Bubba Ray was trying to teach him, if you think about it. He's trying to let people know, like, this isn't a game, this isn't here to make friends, this is here you want to become a superstar. And this is where you need to be. Like, they're not going to be your friend, they're your coach. A coach is never supposed to be your friend. They're supposed to be tough and hard on you. Like, if that guy literally thinks that Bubba Ray was bad, just try dealing with the intensity of Booker T. If you watch the one old season of Tough Enough where one guy was rolling his eyes at Booker T because Booker T was telling him some real cold hard facts, some truthful things, and he got mad. Like, I remember that episode. That guy got so mad at Booker, and Booker just got right in his face and just said, do something. But a lot of people don't realize, though, Booker T was an actual, real troublemaker when he was younger. And he was the type who actually got into fights and did things. So he wouldn't hesitate to give someone a realistic butt kicking.
Beating, yeah. So, hey, he is his own little promotion reality of wrestling.
Yeah, he's producing a lot of great talent. Like, it, I hope one day that WWE will bring Amber Moon back, because she is one of the few that actually trained with Booker T at his school. So it'd be great to see her back.
I think in AEW she goes by the name Athena.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I hope she comes back in WWE.
Yeah.
Now that, you know.
Yeah, he's producing a lot of great female talent. Booker T is. Like, it's amazing. Like,
hey, Roxanne Perez.
Yep, Roxanne Perez is one of them. Like you gotta really love and respect what Booker T does when he's not there. Same thing with Seth Rollins. Like, he runs his own wrestling school himself, and he's really trying to produce some good talent, because he posts clips here and there on his wrestling school's Instagram page, and it's great seeing him involved with his own school, and also seeing Becky there helping him with the school as well, because those people are learning the proper way, the right way, how to be safe and how to actually do things the right way.
Yeah, so when you do a certain move, you gotta do them not just properly, but you have to do it in the same way, because incidents happens,
Mm-hmm. And for those of you who are interested in being professional wrestlers, look for schools like that and train. Yeah, it's going to be expensive, but you're going to learn the right way, how to be safe in that ring, because a lot of the guys back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, some of them were just self-taught. Not all of them went to an actual wrestling school. Like, some of them were just self-taught, or some of them actually were born into an actual family, people who were actually related to the Harts, who actually trained with the Hart family and trained in a dungeon, and then vice versa, and those who trained with Roman Reigns' family, like, like they've been doing it for years. But the Usos actually, believe it or not, trained at the same school under Booker for a while, from what I heard on interviews that they've given. They used to go to.
Actually, one of the bloodline members. He
Yep.
was in the okay.
Mhm.
I might botch the name. Localio.
Yeah.
Localio.
Yeah.
I think he was in his promotion.
Mhm.
I so I actually watched a video. He was a champion. He was competing.
Mhm.
Actually, there was this a video. You know, he was accompanying him.
Right.
Uh, yeah, he's a natural. I'm pretty sure he
Yeah.
can do good things in WWE. So now, if you may know on to be what it was, or if you watch it on YouTube, there's a thing called Evolve. Now that's actually like think of it as a secondary like to
Mhm.
NXT, like a similar like
Mhm.
an NXT.
Yeah.
Some of the superstars have actually moved to Evolve probably because of the
Mhm.
roster change in the brand. Um, so yeah, there were amazing talents and there younger talent in there. So
Yeah.
hey, who knows? Maybe some of them will end up in WWE.
Yeah. Definitely. I, like I'm looking forward to some of these newer talents coming up who train like at Booker T's facility, even training at Seth Rollins, even like the Dudley Boys still run a wrestling school, so it'll be interesting to see like how many people come from that as well.
Yeah. Um, so as you follow the Panther Earl Zero, he's been killing it on Monday Night Raw. He's been doing
Oh
good
yeah.
matches.
Mhm. He's been
Uh,
phenomenal actually.
yes, I hope to see him and Ray compete. That would be a good match.
Right. It would be.
Um, now, his brother is set to. Yeah, I think he's signed with WWE.
Yeah.
His name is Ray Phoenix, by the way, guys.
Mhm.
Both of them were champions everywhere they go. They were in the Mexican, the AAA, even in I think they were in Japan, and they were also TNA Tag Team Champions. So yeah, so both Ray Phoenix, they're gonna be in WWE, but from what I heard, that Phoenix is gonna be on SmackDown,
Mhm.
and probably in certain time they're gonna bring them up together at some point.
Right.
There were certain vignettes going on for
Mhm.
him, so maybe it's expected to be debut after WrestleMania because probably that's
Right.
one of the debuts or returns are probably doing. Um, and I think we might see a call from NXT now
Mhm.
because hey, we saw and speaking we talk about Roxanne. She
Yep.
did a good at the Royal Rumble.
Mhm.
Elimination Championship was really good, and I think that's a sign of
Right.
like. And actually, I actually have really high hopes for her. Actually, all the way back from last year, and I know she can pull it off for
Yeah,
sure.
I agree totally. Like,
I see her matches in NXT. She did very phenomenal.
yeah, she did a lot of phenomenal things in NXT.
One of the longest NXT Women's Championship.
Yeah.
So, good line. And if I'm not mistaken, half. She was a tag team champion with Cora Jade at one point. But
Mhm.
then they started a feud because the Cora Jade character, the character we're talking about, the character, not the person. It's completely different.
Mhm.
Uh, if you're new to wrestling, everyone, wrestlers portraying characters. Okay, so don't get confused.
Right.
um, she she probably her half of the tag team titles, and she wanted to compete for the major, the singles gold,
Right.
and now they're kind of reunited, but Actually, we might have to see Cora competing soon with TNA
Mm-hmm.
pay-per-view.
Right.
I hope she's better. I know she had a little. I know she has a head injury. I hope she recovers soon. So
Mm-hmm.
speedy recovery.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, WWE and TNA are doing pretty good stuff right now.
Yeah,
So
they are.
that's so cool.
Especially the storyline that's going on with the Hardy Boys right now, where Matt got
So,
beaten to a bloody mess.
speaking of, we talked about earlier about Jeff and X-Pac, believe it or not. One of
Yep.
Jeff's early matches was against X-Pac where he
Yep,
was
it was. It was.
kind of like, what? Yes, guys, that's true. I saw a video on YouTube. Him and Jeff go right at it. It was
Oh,
a good
yeah.
match.
Yep.
So, yeah. Did you know that there used to be like some of the big time wrestlers do if anyone do, they actually were extras back in the day.
Oh yeah, a lot of them
Before
were.
they could-
Like back in the old AWA days, Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall were tag team partners.
Yeah,
They used to be tag team partners. Um, even like Stone Cold was part of like the Fabulous Blondes with Stinger before he became Sting.
sure, right?
Yeah, so like it's amazing. Like you can look far back at how much they've grown from their old days until they got to their big spotlight career.
Yeah. Um, this
Like
speaking
when,
of wrestling,
cause like when Macho Man first started wrestling, he didn't go by Macho Man at first. He just went by Randy Savage.
after wrestlers, he
And
became.
what a lot of people don't realize, before he even got into professional wrestling, he is one heck of a baseball player too. He was a phenomenal baseball player. He's actually
yeah.
in the minor league system for the Cardinals.
Ooh. You learn, Chad. You learn new things every day.
Yep, like the reason why I knew about it is because of my father. He grew up watching a lot of old school wrestling. Like he actually took me to a WWE event when there's still WWF at the time, and this is when Hacksaw Jim Duggan was still in his prime wrestling, and he was wrestling the Iron Sheik at, I believe it was like the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas, and the Iron Sheik beat him by grabbing his tights and pinning him and pulling his tights and stuff. So like yeah, so like it was really funny. It was cool. It was actually awesome just to be able to see two legends like that, two Hall of Famer type, like Hacksaw Jim Duggan being Hall of Famer. Hopefully, the Iron Sheik will get his flowers at one point, because I know he had some beefs with a lot of people before he passed away. But like, yeah, he it was fun being able to see those two legends in the ring, especially the Iron Sheik, because during that time he was kind of already past his prime at that time.
Yeah, he cannot wrestle.
Yeah, he couldn't do much. He was very limited at that time of what he could do, and so like it wasn't the same Sheik as Iron Sheik as you would have saw like in the before like the late 80s. Because when I saw them, it was still like almost like close to like the late 80s. And I was thinking it might have been like maybe like '87 or '88, something like that. When I saw that, and it was just a live event. It wasn't like a televised showing or anything. It's just one of those small house type live events.
Yeah. In those live events, guys, wrestlers can be themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get like they still do what they're supposed to kind of do in their match, but they can do like fun with the friends. They can do like
Yeah, that's a lot of times where you'll see them break character. Is a lot of times when they do those live events. So like most of the time, like back when Sheamus was doing the respect to Hawk gimmick type thing, like when I went to the live event in Minneapolis at the Target Center, and he only does "Are you not entertained" during televised things. He won't really do it at the live, but it was kind of cool that when I said it, he actually ended up doing it. So it was really cool to hear him do that because he normally only did it during televised live, like televising on like Raw or SmackDown. That's the only time you'd hear him say that. So it was really cool seeing that.
It's amazing. Anyway, how are you? And have fun with the fans right here.
Yep. And it was funny because he looked right at me as he did it because he heard me say it and he smiled, and so he nodded and he actually did it. So it was actually kind of cool to see that.
Yeah. Yeah. He knows if you follow the career and
Yeah, like because it's amazing because I remember when Sheamus first came into WWE and it was during the Ruthless Aggression era. It's like I'd say it's like midway through that Ruthless Aggression era where they're starting to transition more into like PG is when Sheamus came in.
His first match, and his first match was with John Cena.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
For the WWE title, terrible match.
Yep, and I remember his match at WrestleMania against Triple H. So that was a good match too.
Oh, remember the 18 seconds match?
Yep.
Even Daniel Bryan, right?
Yep. That was just great.
That was and they make it to a hilarious moment when I remember probably a Raw or a SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
He came out with a shirt with the
right.
number 18.
Yep.
And when Daniel Bryan was in the stage.
Yep.
I'm like, brother, this is
yep.
how long it took me to get your title.
Yep.
18 seconds.
Yep. I always liked Sheamus better as a heel than a face. That's just me. I love him better as a heel. I like heel Sheamus over face Sheamus.
Yeah.
There's just certain characters I like heel better than face. Like Triple H, I like him better as a heel than a face.
This is his best work.
Like, I always like the cerebral assassin as a heel, never a face. Same thing with Undertaker. I always liked him as a heel. I never liked him as a face. Same with Kane. I like him as a heel. I don't like him as a face. There's just certain wrestlers that just need to stay a heel and never be a face. And I feel like Undertaker should have been one of those guys. Just because of he was so good at being a heel.
Remember the Ministry of Darkness guys?
Yep. That was all Undertaker. That is his genius at work.
Yeah, he could have
like even the American Badass gimmick, that was all him. Like that was his genius at work.
He kind of that American American Badass was kind of reminding him back in
Mm-hmm.
WCW. Because
Yep.
he said, hey, hey, that version of me was like, I was like Mark Calloway,
Yeah.
like was
Mm-hmm.
WCW.
Right.
So, yeah, that was
Like, even like
there-
old legends like Jake the Snake Roberts, I always liked him as a heel better than a face. I didn't like him as a face.
speaking of,
Just that's just me. I like the heels. I'm more of a heel fan than a face. Like I'll root for some faces here and there, but you always catch me rooting for the heels. Like whenever Seth Rollins is a heel, I tend to root for him more. I like him better as a heel, honestly, than a face.
Bailey was actually a good heel.
Oh, I enjoyed Bailey as a heel. Honestly, I want her to stay a heel. I don't want her to be a face anymore. After I saw her as a heel, I want her to stay a permanent heel.
Yeah, so, who knows, maybe they will come back, at some point.
Like even that part of that time when Becky Lynch started a man gimmick, I liked her as a heel. I actually liked that side of Becky. Like I rather her stay a heel too. She's another one. Charlotte's another one that I prefer a heel because I was the same way with her old man. I liked when Rick was a heel. I liked him better as a heel than a face. That's just how it is. Like even when HBK was a heel, I liked HBK as a heel. I always liked Shawn Michaels as a heel because I can remember far back when he turned on Marty Jannetty when they're the Rockers. And it was on an episode when they were on Brutus the Barber Beefcake's little stage set thing and at the barber shop, and then all of a sudden Marty Jannetty was just talking about the funk they were in, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere Shawn Michaels just delivers a sweet chin music to him. Like I love that. Like I love the whole heel turn, and there's a long story behind that. Sean has talked about that in his biography and some other interviews, so some of you may know about the reason why that happened. But like, yeah, I remember a lot of that. Like I enjoyed a lot of those times. Another person, believe it or not, that I liked as a heel was Hogan. I liked Hulk Hogan better as a heel than a face.
Hollywood?
Yep, I didn't like that say your prayers, take your vitamins. No. I liked Hollywood Hogan. And believe it or not, before Hulk Hogan was Hulk Hogan, he was a heel. So if you guys saw Rocky 3 when Hogan was in there where he played the character Thunder Lips, that was his original type gimmick when he first started wrestling. He was a heel. That was his heel personality before he even went to WWF and created the whole Hulkamania thing. He was a heel. A lot of people are going to remember that who grew up in the 70s watching him in the AWA. And he wasn't even called Hulk Hogan at that time. He just went by, I believe, like the Hulk. Because originally when he first started, he just went by his first name. I believe like when he was talking about an interview when he first started wrestling. And then yeah, so it's amazing like the stuff you learn about these guys like from the old days, because a lot of people are used to seeing them always being the good guy in the face. Like Big Show, I loved him as a bad guy. I always liked him as a heel. I didn't like him as a face. Like when he was in WCW, I loved that he was a heel. Like, and he was very athletic for a big guy. Like, it was amazing watching him do kick flips. where he was able to kick himself back up. Most people that size and that height can't do something like that.
It's rare to
So
see something like
it's very rare to see that, and it's just amazing that he was so athletic enough to do something like that when he first got into WCW, when he went by the Giant.
Yep. So,
And then Kevin Nash is another one. I love him better as a heel than a face. Like when NWO first came out, the heel version of NWO, that was the NWO I loved. The NWO where they were getting booed like crazy, and then like they're just doing everything that nobody liked. Like I love that. That was a time when I loved the NWO, and especially Eric Bischoff being one of the masterminds behind that. It was just pure genius.
yeah, Eric, he knew what he was doing.
Oh yeah, he did.
He's a genius.
He was, and that's the reason why when WCW got bought out, why do you think Vince hired him to work in
Right.
WWE? Eric
Yeah,
Bischoff
when
is a smart person. Like he understands storytelling and he knows what's gonna be best for business.
yeah,
But Triple H is doing one heck of a job now back there in WWE. And I read something on Instagram that WWE is actually hiring for creative writing teams. So those of you who are creative writers, you should put in for that. Especially if you love wrestling, you love WWE, put in for that.
hey, if you wanna make that trade thing, treat
Yeah.
just like that, amazing, they put it into an amazing story.
Hmm.
This is for you.
If I was that creative at writing, I would have put in for it. But I'm not that. Even though I have ideals, but the problem with ideals is writing it out. And I'm not that good at writing out ideals. So that's the reason why more power to those who are great creative writers who not only have a great imagination and great ideas, but who actually know how to put it out there on paper by writing it. More power to you, men and women, that can do that, because that's a talent in itself, a major talent.
So, we saw many awesome storylines
Yes.
throughout the year.
Hmm. Like,
If you follow WWE right now, the Bloodline storyline, nailed it.
oh, that, like, if you would look back 20 years ago, you wouldn't think the Nahi family would be taking over WWE as much as they have already right now. Because before, it was always a half and half with the Hart family and then their family. Now, like, you're seeing them pop up everywhere. Like, eventually soon, I believe WWE is going to try to bring up Zella. They're bringing up a lot of people from Roman's family. Like, it's amazing, like, how much that family has really became the major factor in WWE.
So yeah, that's a awesome thing that they do that.
It is, like, it's great to see that tradition still continuing, that bloodline still continuing to do things, because we haven't seen much of anything from the Harts. The only one that's left that we see is Natalia. That's it.
Nick, she's the last one left.
I believe so. Like, I really hope there could be another in the future, or maybe Davey Boy Smith's son may come back. I hope at one point.
Another champ.
Yep, I hope one day he comes back, because I'd like to see some of the Hart family back, like, because I grew up watching a lot of them. I grew up watching Owen Hart. I grew up watching Bret Hart. I grew up watching Jim the Anvil. Like, I grew up watching those guys. Like, I used to love watching Jim the Anvil. Every time the camera pointed at him, he'd just turn, look, and just laugh and pull his goatee and then turn back and just put a straight face on. Like, that was just pure genius. How he'd look at the camera and go, hey, and just go back to being a straight face. Like, that was my Jim the Anvil Neidhart route imitation. Rest in peace, Jim the Anvil.
Yeah. They used
Like,
to be like a tag team with his brother.
yeah, he was tag team partners with Owen. Coco Beware was tag team partners with Owen Hart.
Sadly, we lost Owen pretty young.
Yeah, and it's sad that we lost Owen to a freak accident and to such a young age. Like, if he was still alive, he'd probably still be performing right now.
Yeah. Like, he could have put it in different matches. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they can all the dream potential
Yep.
can happen, you know.
Yeah, exactly. He probably would have won multiple titles already, like heavyweight title.
He would be
Still.
a WWE champion.
Yep.
I know he was he an IC champion?
Yep, I believe he was. He's also a European champ. I believe he is a hardcore champ.
That's a British Bulldog, dude.
No, but I think Owen Hart also won once the hardcore title.
Yeah.
Because you gotta remember, the British Bulldog got written off of TV for a bit, where he actually did a small stint in WCW before coming back to WWE.
Yeah, and then I think he returned to run Big Boss Man and
Yep, I remember the Big Boss Man, rest in peace.
yeah, the corporate.
Because when he was in WCW, he went by Big Bubba.
Big Bubba.
Yep, and then when he went back to WWE, he was the Big Boss Man.
Yep, the last time
And he is actually part of the NWO too.
Yeah.
A lot of
Last
people
time I
didn't know
seen-
that. But he wasn't one of the original members, but he was part of them.
Yeah.
Because
I remember.
I'll be amazed if anyone can name the actual original members of the NWO. And I'm not talking about the add-ons from later on. I'm talking about the original.
Alright, Hulk was one of them. Kevin Nash
Yep.
and Scott Hall.
Besides that, the original.
Shawn.
Who?
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels was never in WCW, Flame.
Oh, right.
I'm talking about the original NWO.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one because wrestling was
And no, Stevie Ray's not an original member. I'm talking about when they first originally formed and started really, really taking over WCW.
Man, I need to really remember the
If anyone can, even in chat or if you want to post in comments later, I'll let you know whether you're right or not. Because the reason why I asked this, because when I met Buff Bagwell, he asked me, and I nailed it to a T. And he was impressed that I remember that far back. Because when NWO first started doing that, I was in high school. I was a freshman in high school.
Because I thought originally there were three.
That's what they
And then,
wanted you to think when they first came. But when they started really completely taking over, who were their original members?
okay,
Besides Hogan, Hall, and Nash, those are just too easy to remember because they're the founding fathers of the NWO.
I remember Diamond was in WCW. And DDP was in WCW.
But
I know he was, but was he in the WNWO?
no,
Uh,
no.
Malenko. I mean, and Malenko wasn't, because I think he was not fit. I think Malenko was not in that NWO because I think his character did not kind of fit in the group. But he was in WCW.
I'll give you guys a chance to sleep on it and figure it out. I don't want to.
Yeah, change your brains for a bit. Maybe you
Yep.
can guess before I guess. And don't worry, even if he tells me later, I'm not gonna. Even if you tell me later, I'm not gonna say anything.
Oh, I'm not even gonna tell you. You gotta do your homework too.
Oh, don't use Google, okay?
Yep.
Don't use.
Do not use Google. Do not use any Yahoo search or any of those type of search engines. I will allow you to watch old WWE things, but you're not allowed to use Google.
Because it'll be way too easy.
That'd be way too easy. Don't even ask your Siri or your Google thing or any of that. That's not allowed.
You have to be like a really, 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 really big wrestling fan.
Yep.
Because if you're a true
Real
wrestling
true big wrestling fans that been fans since they were like 5 years old like myself will remember. Those who
Oh,
don't remember that far back are gonna have a hard time with this.
by the way, was X-Pac in WCW?
He wasn't quite there at that time when the NWO already formed. He was still with DX and Raw.
Oh, oh, because that was my
Yep.
choice.
He was still X-Pac.
Because here's the thing, though. When NWO came back, X-Pac was there.
I'm not talking about when they came and showed up at WWE Flame. I'm talking about WCW, the
Yeah,
original
but-
NWO. Like as soon as like they really became a real true group and clique.
Remember at one point when remember at one point, it could have been, even though I don't see Booker even being an NWO.
Booker was never part of the NWO. His
No,
brother
no.
was, but he wasn't an original member though.
Okay, so I wasn't kind of on the right track.
Yeah, Stevie Ray was in the NWO, but he was not an original member. He joined later.
Yeah. Because, if I remember that WCW roster at the time,
Mm-hmm.
you guys, if you remember that specific, just focusing on WCW roster, if you remember some of those guys, you will kind of focusing on that, not on WWE roster, but on the WCW.
Yep.
Because he's talking about the original.
I'm talking about the WCW days, the original NWO, the original black and white that first started.
I mean, he's not talking about the
I'm not,
Masters.
I'm not, and I'm not talking about the Wolfpack NWO either. Because some of the originals went to the Wolfpack.
Tinker. Sting is not a.
Nope, Sting was never part of the black and white NWO. He is only Wolfpack only. Same with Lex Luger. He was only part of the Wolfpack NWO. He was never part of the black and white.
Yeah, and yeah, congrats for him being elected to the Hall of Fame.
Yes, congrats to Lex Luger.
And we have a tag team, and I think it's confirmed.
I believe so. The Natural Disasters. Earthquake and Typhoon. I remember Earthquake when he first came in, and it was when it was still WWF at the time. He showed up as the person with the name. He just went by John. He was sitting in the audience, and Dino Bravo's manager at the time had him come out of the audience, stepped in the ring, and Dino Bravo had him sit on his back while he was doing push-ups. That was late 80s, everyone. A lot of you won't even know that, because if you weren't born in like the early 80s and watched from like the late 80s and the 90s, you're not going to remember that. You won't remember Earthquake sitting on Dino Bravo's back while he's doing push-ups. That's how far back I can remember watching WWE when it was WWF.
Yeah, man. Otis, actually, kind of, if you look at it, Otis from American Academy, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Earthquake a little.
Yeah, I miss Earthquake. Like he was really in. He was actually a great performer, like great wrestler. So was Typhoon. Like I remember when before Typhoon became Typhoon, he was Tugboat.
So they have a different gimmick before that.
Yeah.
I mean different name.
Typhoon was Tugboat when he first was part of WWF. Earthquake was Earthquake when he first got into WWF.
And I think they were a team.
They didn't become the Natural Disasters until I would say the 90s, like the early 90s. Like the early 90s is when they became like the tag team, the Natural Disasters.
Yeah, 1991 to 1993.
Yep.
I believe.
Yeah.
Like upward years.
Yep.
So yeah, good. And they were a good team. So.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, kind of, remember the time back in the day, tag teams were not that acknowledged.
They weren't, like, and it's sad that back in the old days, tag teams weren't as acknowledged as much as like the single competitors were. Like, there's a lot of phenomenal tag teams back in those days.
In Attitude Era, they were acknowledged?
They were acknowledged, but I'm talking about like way before the Attitude Era. Tag teams weren't that acknowledged much. Now, like, the ones that were acknowledged that made the biggest presence the most would have been like the Hart Foundation, Demolition, Money Incorporated. But if you weren't some of those bigger names that were already made a name for themselves, you weren't really acknowledged as much in the tag team division. And there's a lot of phenomenal tag teams back then. The reason why the Legion of Doom made such a huge impact, they were already very popular in AWA and WCW already. And that's when they're called the Road Warriors. So some of you will remember them as the Road Warriors if you grew up watching them in the late 70s, early 80s in AWA going to WCW. You're going to remember them as the Road Warriors. if you remember them when they're in WWE, you're gonna remember them as LOD, Legion of Doom.
Yep. Hey, rock and roll. Yeah.
Rock and Roll Express, I remember them. They were originally AWA and then went to WCW.
Yeah.
And then they had a small little stint in WWF. And that's when Jim Cornette stayed in WWF after that.
The Fabulous Freebirds.
Yep, the Fabulous Freebirds. There's another legendary tag team.
Yep. Speaking of tag, there were 3 people, and I remember back in, if you remember the modern tag teaming, the New Day, when they became, if you may remember, the New Day, originally they were 3. So,
there's another tag team though that had 3 too, way before New Day.
I know, yeah. Now,
do you know who they are though?
Yes.
Nope. Even before DX.
Before DX.
You're gonna kick yourself. The Demolition had 3 members at one point.
I mean,
Demolition had 3 members at one point where WWF wasn't really using Axe as much, but he was still there. But when Crush first came to WWF, he was part of Demolition.
did he?
Yep. Look it up.
Oh, you were right. I was seriously gonna get up.
And realistically, even the 4 Horsemen before them, because the 4 Horsemen originally formed in AWA, going into WCW.
Right.
That's how far back my knowledge of wrestling goes, everyone. Like, I remember things from the old days because of my dad telling me what he watched, so I was able to remember a lot of these things. I even remember the Bushwhackers.
Yeah. I remember them as I remember them, but I heard about them.
They would bite people on the head. They'd bite themselves on the head and give each other noogies and all that kind of stuff. And they'd come to the ring walking with their arms going up.
Yeah, I remember there used to be at one game at one point you could could be selected.
Mm-hmm.
Was it 2K17, I believe?
That, and they're also in All Stars as well.
Bushwhackers?
Yep.
Sure?
Yeah.
Because
if you go to like the old legendary section, that's where you'd find them. You had to unlock them though. They weren't. They were not like a.
That was one specific version.
Yeah, you had to unlock them. Because depending on like, if you had like the PlayStation and Xbox version, you could unlock the Bushwhackers. But if you had like the Switch, like a Nintendo DS version or like the 3DS version, they weren't unlockable because it was limited to what they could put on the cartridge for that.
Now, keep in mind, portables were still kind of were not a thing.
Yeah, and they weren't even unlockable for the PSP.
Yeah. So yeah.
They're only unlockable for the Xbox and PlayStation, and I don't think that game was on PC at the time yet either.
No, it never was.
That one was only console exclusive.
It was console exclusive. It was PS2 Xbox and PSP.
Yep.
Now, 3D and 3DS, yeah, I have
But it was
wrestling games.
very limited. There's very limited characters on the 3DS version because there's only so
3DS,
much they could fit on a cartridge.
yeah, like you can pick like at least 20 wrestlers in there
Yep.
at the max.
Yep.
And uh, graphics were not.
Well, the
I,
3DS actually had decent graphics, believe it or
I mean,
not. Um,
the
but
wrestling
the
game.
regular DS didn't have as much better graphics as the 3DS did.
Yeah. So hey, if you want to play the WWE 2011, that game had amazing graphics.
Oh yeah.
SmackDown vs. Raw 2011.
Oh, I
And
remember playing Super WrestleMania on the Super Nintendo. And I'd always do tag team. I'd either pick Legion of Doom or I'd pick The Undertaker and Sid Justice.
Mania Arcade, I don't know if you played that.
Yep, I remember that. And then on the regular Nintendo, I had the first WWF WrestleMania game where Hulk Hogan was on the front. And then I remember playing WWF WrestleMania Challenge where there's 4 people on the cover. You had Ultimate Warrior, Big Boss Man, Andre the Giant, and Hulk Hogan on there. And Macho Man. I believe Macho Man was on the box as well. But I'm pretty sure it was the Ultimate Warrior, Hogan, Andre the Giant. But yeah, that was a fun game.
There was a place like
I
there
even
was a time
remember playing on the Nintendo World Championship Wrestling, which was WCW's wrestling game at the time for the Nintendo.
yeah, right, yes, right. There was
Mm-hmm.
and the last character, man, oh, tough to beat, crazy,
Right.
and we actually, oh, you know what? I might have to find it and post it in general when we finish, and see if are we talking about the same one because probably we copied a different version from the one that, but I might have to find it
Mm-hmm.
and I'll send you if you can confirm it's the same one that I
Yeah.
am I. So
Yeah.
I'll
Mm-hmm.
look it up and so in my country, by the way, guys, we didn't kind of get the chance to own consoles back in the day. They used to have these small places when you can go and play for an hour, half an hour, 1 hour. And brother, I saw SmackDown 2, PlayStation. Like, can I play? Can I play this for an hour? You know, you pay a certain amount, play 1 hour, and bro, I play SmackDown 2, and I had so much fun. That's for the PlayStation, SmackDown 1, 2, there were, and Here Comes the Pain, and Just Bring It were only exclusive to the PlayStation 1 and 2, respectively. I did play a little bit of the SmackDown 3, Just Bring It. The kind of from the SmackDown ones, I kind of missed playing the Here Comes the Pain. I know that game was actually pretty good. And WWF Shut Your Mouth, it was also good too. So yeah, that was great.
Yes, it was.
You ever play one of those SmackDown games?
Oh yeah, I used to play a lot of SmackDown games at friends' houses when they had it.
Man, and yeah, No Mercy is actually a good choice. You get a lot of amazing stars
Mm-hmm.
from that roster. You got literally almost every superstar in the Attitude Era, man. Like
Yeah.
that. No wonder people say that game was one of the best games ever released.
Yep. I remember playing WWE 2K16 on the PlayStation 4. And on the cover of that was Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, and I think Arnold Schwarzenegger was in the game too, right? The Terminator himself, right?
I believe so. I can't remember that far back. Everyone who was on 2K16. I remember Adam Rose was on that game. Stardust. Curtis Axel was on that one.
Yeah, that was actually, by the way, guys, that was way like the brand split was like reborn again.
Yeah.
You got like wrestlers like
that was before like Adam Rose and Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas formed the Social Outcast. I remember that.
Yeah. Was it Jinder Mahal in there? I don't remember.
I don't think I saw Jinder Mahal in 2K6. I don't recall. He may have not, because I knew the Bell Twins were in that one.
Probably either that he could be end up being like how there's community, people that making wrestlers and they put
right.
Because I've seen people doing that even before a wrestler was officially before was a DLC. People that created their own versions.
Yep, they would.
So yeah, believe it or not, there was one. There are wrestlers that are not in there, but people, hey, they can create their own version of a certain wrestler and put it in. So.
Yep, they can.
Yeah. There
can
was one
you
time,
dig it, sucker?
Yep. King Booker. Remember that gimmick?
Yeah, I also remember when The Rock was telling Goldust, "What the hell's the matter with you?" when he was rubbing it on himself. That was just great.
Hilarious, yeah. What the funniest thing? Like, man, the good old WWE was good.
Yep, the Attitude Era.
Yeah, but they're making good matches when it comes to the singles competitors. But back then, like, the tag team was not acknowledged as much.
No, it wasn't. Not until the Attitude Era is when tag teams started getting more acknowledgement. When the Hardys, Edge and Christian, the Dudleys were doing those TLC matches.
Yeah. Even the Hollies.
Yep, even the Holly, yep.
Yeah, you may remember, yeah. So they were left a little bit because they have a little argument between them for the hardcore title. So yeah, there's one wrestler. He was very good. Steve Blackman.
Yep, I remember Steve Blackman. I remember Ken Shamrock.
I hope it comes back, Ken Shamrock, man.
Yeah.
I hope it comes back.
He may not. I know there's just talks right now about it.
Because hey, time and all the things, but maybe they can, discuss, do something like small, like a little small run or appearance or something like that. Because I know, I see him. He's in tough shape. Shape. I know maybe he can put up with these 1 to 2 matches.
Right.
So imagine him becoming the Hall of Fame, dude. He'll be UFC Hall of Fame and then in a WWE Hall of Fame. Nobody have that.
Right.
because there's no other wrestler back then having like these type of accolades. You know what I mean?
Right.
There could be a kid inducted this year or in the next one.
Right.
So, so yeah, can't wait to see these events coming
Yeah.
in. And we kind of find out a few more matches in the set as you watch them go. Definitely we're gonna see Drew and Damian Priest.
Yep, that'll be a good matchup.
You know how that storyline began actually at WrestleMania, but with a little stop here and there.
Right.
Because they were in a different brands back then. You see, if you follow this story, guys, Drew is very pissed at Damian because he cashed in at WrestleMania, and you know, Drew got from a babyface, he actually turned heel, and actually this is actually kind of he actually is killing it right now. This is his best work, like at socials, promos. He's doing it he's doing a very, very amazing job.
Yeah, I actually like Drew as a heel.
Yeah, so he's doing very fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that this is some of his best work this past year. He's doing pretty good for himself.
Right.
We might see and also if you're following the Randy Orton and KO story, well, I believe that match will be included in one of the WrestleMania nights. That's official, and maybe we might see Jade Cargill and versus Naomi against each other.
Yeah, I think that's definitely gonna be a match probably at WrestleMania.
By the way, we didn't hear anything about Battle Royals. If you follow WWE for the past many years, there used to be a Giant Battle Royal. There was no word about that. They never mentioned it about that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably they not remove it completely. I don't know. Or they're gonna make it like the past SmackDown or Raw.
Right.
Just because hey, I understand that you don't want to make these nights way too long. I understand it. EP plans to do it that way because hey, you wanna as much as it's cool WrestleMania, 5 hours, hey, to say the least is fine. But hey, if you have the extras, it would be a little bit of a overkill. So yeah, I understand it gets removed completely, but hey.
Yeah. Who knows if they're gonna have one? Well, only time will tell because we're still a little ways for WrestleMania.
Yeah, close to a month.
Yeah, we still got a little bit of time. I'm pretty sure they will make a battle royal because that's kind of like a WrestleMania tradition.
They used to make it at the actual WrestleMania kickoff back in the day, but now they decided to do it on the show before the actual show, WrestleMania, SmackDown or Raw. They call it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, at least that way, like talents will get to showcase themselves even more. Not just Raw, SmackDown, even TNA.
Yep.
As they work together. One of the biggest, if you follow TNA and Royal Rumble, one of the biggest surprises in the males Royal Rumbles was the appearance of I believe is still world champion Joe Andrew in the crowd. And yeah, so who knows? We can see some TNA superstars in there.
Yep.
And this is a good news, especially for the women's division. And I hope that rumor is true, that we may gonna have Evolution 2.
Yeah.
I noticed that it will be around in June, so that'll be cool to see. And it's a good thing, and I'm very happy that they're gonna do that, because with the expanding of that roster, man, there's so many amazing women wrestlers. Man, they have to have that on pay-per-view. So I think it's about time to make another Evolution, and I hope this happens this year.
Yeah.
What is your take on that?
I'm sure it's gonna happen regardless, because of how much of the high increase in women fans they're really showing up in WWE events. It only makes sense because there's so many female roster now than back when I was a little kid. You didn't see as many women wrestlers, especially if you were early 80s and you watched WWF back when it was mostly the only time you saw women, there weren't a lot of women wrestlers. Most of it was men, and women weren't given as much ring time during that time anyways as like they are today. So I'm pretty sure they're going to do that. Another Women's Evolution pay-per-view. I'm pretty sure it'll happen.
Because they follow different eras in wrestling. Their matches are very, 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 very short.
Yeah.
We're talking
about because even in the Attitude Era, even some of the women's wrestling matches didn't go over an hour. The longest you would see is maybe 10-15 minutes, and then even less than that, and they say hurry up, finish it up, and that's kind of how it was back then.
Yeah. So some of the stuff from Raw needs to be cut. For what I heard, because of the promo. How the promo goes. It kind of went a little bit of the overtime limit, and kind of some of the fans were a little bit of
But
went way too.
See, this is what I expect when you get a lot of new people that come in and don't know how to cut a promo properly. They tend to go a little too long. And this is the biggest problem with some of this newer talent. They don't know when to cut their promo. They just keep dragging it on, and you can't drag on. Your promo should last no longer than 10 minutes, in my opinion, because most people's attention span doesn't even last past the 10-minute mark. It really doesn't. And that's why I feel like they should really improvise on teaching these men and women to keep their promo into a small little range of anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. Because even sometimes 10 minutes, people are starting to look at something else or doing something else, because now they lost interest on what they're bashing each other on. Unless they're that charismatic like The Rock was. If you don't have that charisma like The Rock had, do not extend your promo. Cut it. Because there's a reason why The Rock was so good at cutting promos and people kept viewing and watching him. Same with Stone Cold. because they knew how to engage with the audience. And if I feel some of this new talent, if your weakness is not keeping the fans engaged, and this is coming from a acting standpoint, just because I used to do acting in TV and film. You have a certain amount of time to get those fans to either stick with you and keep that attention span on you, or they're gonna just completely dump you and ignore it and just look at something else because they already lost interest. So I feel what some of you new talent need to work on when you're cutting promos, getting to key points. Don't keep building and building. Keep cracking the whip and getting right to the point. And I'm seeing a lot of this now more than ever, because back in the Attitude Era, they're right to the point. They didn't keep on with the making points, trying to build up to the main key point. They just keep talking. Don't do that, because it actually bores me. So work on that. Just cut to the key points, because you gotta remember there's a limited time frame when they're live. So if you're carrying on, you're gonna get screamed at when you go backstage. You will get screamed at.
Yeah.
Unless you're one, if you have the charisma like Triple H and The Rock, Stone Cold, or even have decent charisma like LA Knight, don't cut the promo long. Keep it short and sweet. Especially if you're not good at keeping that crowd engaged. Until you can get that crowd engaged, don't make long promos. Keep them to the point and direct.
Yep. And we've been up for quite some time now.
Yeah. We're going to call it for the podcast, everyone. I appreciate everyone that showed up. We'll be back next Saturday. And yeah, take care, everyone, and have a good night.
Have a